Okay, hello guys. Welcome to a new episode of BizTech Talk, where we explore entrepreneurship in tech industry with an array of insightful and passionate entrepreneurs. Today we have young and successful business people, Alti and Aliaksandr, founders of the startup Yotewo.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm your host, Jamal, and very excited to meet you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
you're welcome. Okay, well, actually, I'm gonna start from your, age, because I was really surprised to know that you are so young and you both have startups and you worked in different also industries. Yes.
Yeah.
So please tell us how. Yeah, tell us about your background.
Yeah. Sure.
How come you're so young and already have so much experience in business?
Such an honor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oops. Sorry. I'm 24 at the moment. So I ended up in London because of my master's, and we met with Alex during my master's degree. So it kind of was a funny story because I grew up in Kazakhstan and I was there until 16, graduated high school in 16, and then went to Boston. So in Boston, I went to do my bachelor's, and I kind of was one of the youngest ones there because I feel like in the US, whenever you graduate high school, you're 18 minimum usually, but in Kazakhstan there's 11 years, not 12 years of school. So I was 16. I was younger than my cohort, yeah. And so when I was in the US, I was still under 21, under 18, and a lot of it was kind of funny because everyone was like, "Oh, you're such a baby, But to me, I was like, "Oh, no, thank you." But I kind of went to a 4-year uni there. There they say college, they don't say uni. Uni is a UK thing.
Yeah.
I noticed. Yeah, but I went to Boston University and I was there for 4 years, and then so I kind of graduated, and it was COVID time. So it was class of 2020. I was affected by COVID the most. And unfortunately, our graduation got canceled. Everything got canceled. And we had to move back. Everyone was going back home, going back to their home countries. And I'm originally from Kazakhstan, so I went back home as well. And so I was working remotely there for a year because I was supposed to initially come to London right after my bachelor's.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because I got accepted already. I was supposed to come. But then because of COVID, I didn't want to do it remotely. So I was I kind of want to defer it 1 year. So I asked, can we defer it? And then they accepted, thankfully. And so, I spent a year working at Deloitte in Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a...
Sorry, in Boston, what did you study?
Yeah, in Boston, I was in business administration degree. So it's a bachelor's in business administration. It's BBA.
Same as business management.
Business management, yeah. And then I wanted to do my master's in entrepreneurship. I always knew that I was interested in startups. I always kind of was leaning towards the startup world from a very young age. Yeah, so I kind of applied for the program. I did my research, completely found it online. And then went to my master's a year after working in Kazakhstan. And in Deloitte, I was there as a tax and legal consultant, which is very different from what my interest is. Yeah, but at the end, it kind of somehow all worked out. Okay. So I will explain more of that later. But so that's how I ended up being in London. I came here in 2021, and we graduated 2022 from our masters and started working here in startups and scale-ups and continue to be here. So I will pass it to you.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so from my side, I think it's pretty important to sort of highlight the difference because Alti had a corporate background before starting. I didn't. The only probably proper work experience that I can call was my internship at the blockchain enterprise back home. That's it. Well, it was a company between Belarus and the UK, and I was sort of helping the UK branch, but that was my only work experience. And then I came here in 2016, and so I've been here about 8 years now. So in terms of my experience didn't have any corporate background. I started straight out of uni. When we finished masters, that's when we started.
More of an entrepreneurial side, right?
Maybe, exactly.
So how did you come to
the UK? That's a good question. So in 2016, we came here for summer school, which was about a month. It was very short term. I loved the country, loved sort of the people, the vibe, the culture, and I came here a year after for bachelor's. It was bachelor's in international business management, not far from London, in a sort of smaller uni.
Surrey, right?
Surrey University, yeah, exactly. So I went there. It was 3 years, and actually it was very interesting because after the second year, essentially for the year 2, I went to Hong Kong for exchange. So I studied in Hong Kong U for about half a year. And then I was supposed to come to the placement, which is essentially in the UK is like a gap year when you work in the industry. And it's more of an industrial thing, so it had to be like logistics or like supply chain or business, something like that. And I got the offer, but then the COVID hit, so they canceled the offer. And I went straight to the third year. Yeah, after the third year, the COVID was sort of still here and there. And I just decided that, I don't think I would fit for any job after uni. So I need to do masters because it's too early to find something, myself. So I went to masters. That's where we met with Alti. And we founded the company literally, I think actually during the masters. So when we were doing the thesis, that's when the company was already registered. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Well, now, okay, let's talk more about your startup, Yotewo. Yotewo. Yeah. Okay, I should ask what Yotewo means and how you came up with this name. Yeah. And you can also tell us what your startup does and why you chose this industry. And I don't think you're not like software engineers. You're not, right? But you are in tech. Yeah. And how did you find yourself in tech?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I can start it off, but then I'll pass it to you about the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in one sentence, it's a platform that connects software developers and software engineers with companies such as scale-ups or startups. So originally the idea was that for companies to find the good talent, it was very hard for them to find a good quality talent in terms of it would be very expensive to find someone or they would have to hire recruiting agencies, or they would have to go take a lot of time to find a good candidate. So we wanted to solve that problem and tackle that issue by providing that talent and connecting those two groups together in a way so that they could easily find them in less time and less resources than originally they were spending.
Okay, you help startups mainly to find good candidates for their job vacancies. But I mean, how would you be? How do you differentiate yourself from recruiters?
I can take it. Yep. So the idea is that with Yotewo, it is a solution that automates all steps of recruitment. So if you want to recruit now, you either go to a recruitment agency, you either go to LinkedIn by yourself, or some freelance platforms, or maybe Upwork, whatever. So the idea is with Yotewo, it happens in one click. So you open a request, you put down who you're looking for, and the system automatically matches you with the right people, sort of gives you the feedback on the assessment, helps you to analyze them properly, allows you to sort of monitor their progress on getting to the job position that you opened, and then automates all the admin matters like the contracts, the payments, the progress of their work when they are already onboarded. So it essentially automates all steps for recruitment. So that's the main differentiator, I would say.
We kind of tried to do it all in one solution because we noticed that there were a lot of steps in recruitment industry in general. For you to find a good candidate, you spend a lot of resources, you go through all the steps. There's a lot of manual work that's getting done. So we were how do we make it as efficient as possible? How do we minimize their time and the money that they spent essentially to find those people? Yeah. But yeah, so do you want to say about the name as well? How you can?
I'll say about the name, and just one more thing I wanted to add. When we were talking, we're doing a lot of user research before we started. We were talking a lot to people who were doing some sort of technical work, starting from landing pages to platforms to designs, whatever. We were talking to a lot of people, and all of them had very complicated feedback about working with different providers. And we understood that the problem is that when the person wants to find some IT service, it could be, the full-scale development or specific development or designs or something specific, they don't really know where to go because everyone was describing their bad experiences with vendors. So we understood that we need to be the point where they can come and they will know that this is the place where they can find the quality resources, and automation is just sort of another layer on top of it. So I think that's the main one. In terms of the name, the name was founded quite a while ago with the previous sort of structure of the company. It was essentially an acronym, Yotewo, which stands for Your Own Technologies Worldwide. So that's an acronym, Your Own Technologies Worldwide. Yeah. So that's the acronym, pretty much.
The idea that like worldwide you're able to use like our platform or anywhere,
from
like
anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. US, Europe, UK. Originally we started off with the UK because we know this market more, and we're based here, but ideally like the idea was like to go global to other markets as well. So yeah, that's why it's a worldwide part.
Yeah, well, I would have never figured the name out, to be honest. I thought
gonna make sense.
I thought maybe it was some Belarusian word, right? Yeah, I thought, yeah. But yeah, well, it makes sense. Thank you for answering this question too. I think your startup actually covers like one of the main aspect of the business, because team, everybody says, well, if you want to have a business, you've got to have the right team, and finding the right people. It is a headache, because we go through it ourselves, and we tried recruitment too, and recruitment is pricey. It's pricey, and how to say it still doesn't guarantee you the right candidate. Actually, it is almost the same as you are doing it yourself. Like when we want to find anybody to our any addition to our team, we post on LinkedIn and other job platforms, and you have to go through all these interviews, and it may take like months until you find the right person.
Exactly. And I feel like after COVID there have been so many like job opportunities right now for tech industry in general, and like a lot of people are hiring. Like we've seen like a lot of companies are hiring for like new roles, and we saw the big demand that in this industry in general. So we were like trying to jump on that bus where like people were trying to look for people, and we wanted to help as much as we can, because we saw how many people face this issue, how many people are saying the same stuff to us. So we definitely were like, we need to solve it. We need to find a solution for like this common problem that we have.
I just want to say that the end goal of Yotewo is, because this industry is very manual, right? Even if we're talking about recruiters, they do it manually. They use some internal softwares, but they don't really automate a lot of stuff. So it's pretty manual. Even if you go on LinkedIn, how many steps you need to find a person? You need to post a job, you need to sort of look at every applicant, arrange an interview with them. It's pretty manual. Our idea and our end goal of Yotewo is to create one-click recruitment, literally a button where you click, find a candidate, and it takes you through the very smooth process. So that's
interview also being in the platform.
Interviews as well. Exactly.
The candidate, and also do all the admin stuff within that platform, which
after the recruitment also. I mean, after the hiring.
After the hiring,
all the documents that you need to sign, the NDAs that you need to sign, everything that you need to review, the rates, all the logistic stuff, you are able basically to do it there and then, because we started off with software developers, and then we ideally want to expand further, but for now we've seen exactly. So we kind of see that it's like a global topic in a way. But
100%. I just want to add that so I'm not going to go into too much details of the plans and our features, but the idea is that we want to go beyond hiring, where it will be more of even the feedback on their performance will be quite automated, and even there will be a lot of opportunities for employees on how to improve their skills based on the employer feedback. So there's quite a lot of plans and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And eventually, exactly. And eventually it's going to be probably all industries. So we're starting with tech because we know tech, but our end goal is sort of any industry. Yeah.
Very, very global.
This COVID, I guess, opened up for you this opportunity. Actually, you say before COVID, the remote work was not adapted, and with COVID, it brought you a new business opportunity.
Investment-wise, so what we can say, first of all, I think it's important that so far we've been bootstrapped. So we haven't raised any external investment. We only invested ourselves. So I think that's pretty important to know. In terms of plans, well, we were pivoting the whole product twice, and we were pivoting the investment strategy twice. I think our initial idea was to go sort of through standard raising plan from pre-seed and above within the norms, starting with angels. But we realized that we need to pivot because the product that we are now building is a bit more demanding in terms of resources. So we realized that right now our target is VCs. We're working on that now. I don't think I can give clarity in terms of like numbers and stuff, but yeah, we're in the process of getting prepared to raise, I think by by the end of the year. Yeah, by the end of the year we'll close the round, hopefully. So that's the plan.
Yeah. So VC is probably the way to go for us at the moment.
Great. Well, hopefully you will.
Thank you.
You will raise more than you're planning to raise.
Thank you so much.
You can share. I guess you can share the challenges that you faced. I'm sure there are quite a lot of challenges, but you look so relaxed and so chill, as if you're not the founders. But yeah, tell us about the hard part. Yeah, the hard part of running business or running startup, and maybe some mistakes that you've made. Yeah,
that would be for sure. Thank you for saying that we're relaxed, because our lives are not like that.
Relaxed on the outside, stressed on the inside.
Yeah, stress on the inside, because it's just any day is very different. I feel like every day is different. As someone in like a startup world, I feel like you have those waves, and like what I mean by that is that one wave you're like in such a high, like you're like in such a high mood that you're feeling so good. Something happens really good, or you talk to like an investor or someone, and you get so like motivated and almost like so high from that. And then like there's also always downsides of like being like in the startup world, being like it's very stressful. First of all, like as any startup founder would say, it's very stressful because you are constantly like thinking about it. Like you're just not like you cannot turn it off.
Of course.
Because you're always like, because you know how it's like a 9 to 5, you work and you're like, okay, like I'm done with my work, I can now chill. And I feel like in a startup, you're always thinking like, what would happen if we do this? Like, what if we tried that? So it's like always thinking about the best way to like pivot the business, or the best way to achieve the target that you have. So in that way, it's mentally exhausting because you're always thinking about it. But one way to kind of like overcome it, I guess, is try to write everything down. And for me, what helps me is actually writing and planning everything in advance. So yeah, even if I'm like feeling stressed out, I try to like think about like, okay, this is the issue that I have, and these are potential solutions for my issue. And I always write it down because it helps me. Otherwise, I think I can get in my head a lot, and I can be like thinking too much, anxious. But if I write it down, I look at the problem, I look at the solutions, and I'm like, okay, what can I do for this specific situation? That's something that kind of like helps me have that mental clarity in a way. It clears up my mental capacity to think about something else until the next issue arises, which is gonna be next day, tomorrow. Almost every day. But I think that's just one thing. And also like something to point out is that like I'm not full-time right now. I'm a part-time, and Alex is full-time. I think that's very important for me to kind of like also juggle two things at the same time, because I work full-time as well, and so I'm in sales. I'm in tech sales for both Yotewo and my other company. So right now it's kind of like a balancing factor of like how much time can I spend doing both things and also have stuff to do for myself, I don't know, I love going to yoga, I love going to like other like extracurricular things that I have. So for me that's like the main like challenge, like your question was for me, that was like balancing time management. And I think like just making sure like I have my day very clearly written down, that I need to complete these things, these actions. And just I kind of like give myself more grace most of the time, because I'm like I already have a lot on my plate, so I am not like punishing myself for not completing something. I'm like being more graceful with myself, that it's okay, like even if you don't finish it like today, I know that I will do it tomorrow, and I will have by the end of the week to do this. So that kind of like helps me overcome like the balancing challenge. But overall, I kind of do enjoy staying busy. I think I'm just like a person that enjoys having something always like in personal life, work life.
Yep.
So I think
Something has to go on, right?
yes,
Yeah,
I think
of course.
otherwise I would get bored and I would just be sitting there and just being depressed. But now I'm like very busy. I have so many things going on, and so I actually think that it's sometimes a challenge, sometimes actually a
Yeah, it's
good
a
thing,
good thing, yeah.
because you are always developing. You're always thinking about like how do I grow more and how do I develop in my career. So yeah, that's probably my main one. What about you?
No, yeah, I agree 100%. So first of all, from my experience, startup life is like two things. The first one is like emotional roller coaster, 100%. One day you're like so happy you had some success with whatever, with investors, new clients, new contracts, whatever. Next day you can be super depressed, like super depressed, and it's not like exactly. And I think it like chemically takes a lot of energy from you, and it has to sort of be so it's an emotional roller coaster, 100%. And the second point for me, it's uncertainty. Like you don't even know what's gonna happen tomorrow. We can change. You can pivot the company like in a few days. It can happen from some external factors, whatever. So in terms of the planning, actually, that's a very good question. We have some meetings that are planned ahead, like months ahead. And the good thing about it, that it gives you an assurance that you're doing something right. You're not doing something that is just not serious, but you actually have commitment with some people, and it takes sort of time, month ahead. So it gives you some assurance that you're on the right path. So I agree, that's a very good strategy. In terms of ups and downs, we had a lot. So as I've mentioned, we pivoted twice. We changed the concept twice. For me, I think the most important pivot, not the pivot, but for me the most important like down was the restructuring of the company. We had a lot of sort of problems with the team from when we started. We changed it a lot to get where we're at right now. So that was probably the most hard decision for me, I would say. Yeah, I think that would be
I think that, and also like the uncertainty part that you mentioned. Yeah, like it is uncertain, but there's always a flip side to it, because like in uncertainty you have to be flexible, and like in a way that teaches you to be like more like adjustable, adaptable to different situations. So you can use those skills like anywhere later down the line as well, like in your personal life or whatever it is. So like I think as hard as it is, there are good sides to it, and it is very rewarding. So at the end of the day, and I do think that like for not everyone, I think has this, I don't want to say gene, but like not everyone can handle it, I think, because some people just generally like more stability, or some people just prefer like quieter life, and that's okay. Like that's whoever likes whatever they like, right? So for like us, I think we kind of like balance each other really well, because I think being co-founders is just like we bring up like our like uplift the mood of each other.
100%.
Like I feel like when one is down, the other one is like motivating the other one. So it's like it's actually very helpful to have like a bigger team in terms of that, because you're like helping each other out during your bad days. And yeah, so it's kind of
let me add on this part. Me and Alti actually were a very good match as a founders, because we have a bit. So Alti is realistic. She's always putting me back on earth. She's very realistic. She's always putting me back on earth when I'm like flying somewhere in the clouds. Yeah, exactly.
He can go into his like dreaming, and he can be like, tomorrow we are globally dominating this platform, and I'm like, okay, hold on, like we need to think about the steps, like what are like the actual goals, like, and I think that way, and then also like
100%.
just personality, I think,
just personality wise, we're never putting pressure on each other. We never had an argument. Yeah, that's exactly.
Surprising, because I think we just kind of like whenever there's an argument or one of us is kind of tense, we just laugh it out.
We're just like,
okay, go chill. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, go chill. Like, I think you need a day off. Like, because like we don't take it seriously. We know that like
in a good way.
I know that like he's can be very stressed out and sometimes. So I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna give him some time. And vice versa as well. Like if I'm mad or like something like very irritating me, you always like laugh it out. You always make it like almost like it's fine, like, and it just like makes me feel better as well. Like I'm like, thank you. So it's good that we kind of like mesh really well.
Well, you see, I actually this is the first time when I hear that co-founders never argue, because I argue all the time.
Next week, a huge argument.
I hope that never happens. But
We're funny.
with my partner, with my co-founder, we argue almost every time. I don't know why. Well, of course, we find a way, but in the process, it can get really tense. You know, I may be very stubborn, and sometimes I like controlling.
Well, you guys are like together, right? Like you're
Yes.
like I think that's different also a little bit because like I think when you're like co-founder with your partner, I think definitely
layer.
but there's
Level of
another layer, yeah.
Yeah, another level of stress.
Yes, because like I mean, like being like just like partners in general, like you fight a lot, like there's arguments, there's disagreements.
If there is work to it, then it's
There's a work to aspect to it, so I think a little bit in that aspect it helps us that we're not dating and we have partners. Just FYI,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Still
yeah.
have space, yeah, because I
Nice.
feel like when you're with a partner, you're always together, right?
yeah.
And
Most
then
of the time, of course,
yeah,
you
of
work
course.
together.
But
and
we like come together for work, separate, go back whenever we need to like work. Yeah.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
in that part, yeah, maybe it is not always a good idea to go into business with your partner, but you know, yeah, it can work, of course, it depends. Yeah, but with someone very controlling like me, it can be hard. I think anyone would struggle working with me, probably.
No, I totally understand. I think I'm a control freak as well, so I totally
Yeah,
get it.
sometimes I don't know. I just get so intense. I can get intense, like making other people do what I want. No, we have to go this way.
Is it hard for you generally to find like a compromise, or like how do you like go around that? Like,
Well, I just need to
Let it go.
Give myself a little time.
Okay.
Like, okay, just cool down and let it go. Yeah, but otherwise, at that moment, I can be really.
yeah,
Yeah.
same. Yeah, I think me too.
Yeah, I have hard time letting go at that moment. If I decide this one, it has to be like this.
You think your way is the
Yeah,
best way?
yeah, exactly. That's,
Yeah.
that's what I think. Yeah. Well, it's great. It's great that you have such a good companionship with each other, and you help each other out in stressful times, which is almost always during the business. You see, everybody, you can take courses, you can get like mentorship, but every day, every problem is different. Yeah, you can. All right, you found solution for this one. Okay, you feel like all right, you tackle this one, and the next day comes another completely different problem. Yeah, and it is challenging, of course, but you have a great vibe and great energy, and it's really great.
I think it's just like just trying to remind yourself that it's gonna be okay at the end of the day. Like we just need to like overcome this hard period or like hard day. Like everyone has a bad day, so I think it's just like understanding that like tomorrow is a new day, tomorrow is going to be better, and there's always something, there's always a solution. You just have to like think of one.
Let me add on this. I have a great example for that. Remember this day we had the first meeting with our first potential angel, the person who introduced us to to the sort of external investment. When we left the meeting, I was
So upset.
I was upset. I was honestly upset. Yeah, I had different expectations on the meeting. And I was super upset. And Alti was the ones who bounced out. Like she told me like, "Yo, that was the first person we talked to. What did you expect?"
Yeah. Like you thought it was gonna be like, oh.
Yeah. What did you expect? She was like, no, chill down. Like that's just the first feedback. That's good. We'll take the next step. And I think we got the first interest from like the actual angel maybe about a week after that. So like, yeah, it's very important to understand like that next day is next day. So I agree on that.
New opportunities come up.
Yeah, and not everyone kind of understands your idea. So like you just kind of have to figure out like who is the best person to like look for like as an advisor, as an investor, because like that person in your example, I think he didn't understand fully the industry as well because he's not involved in it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to remember that they say no because not just because it's a bad idea to them, but because like there's so many other reasons that could be potentially a reason for him to not invest in a way. But yeah.
I see. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, great insights. Now you can tell us maybe, for example, okay, you've had a couple of years already put in this business, and from your current perspective, what would you do differently, let's say,
When you started out?
Yeah, when you started, or in your journey in general. For example, okay, I could have done this and it would have been better, maybe. This kind of situations.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think I'll pass it to you actually, because for me, like I think originally the idea was Alex's idea, and I came in as a second co-founder. So I think it's important to point out that it pivoted from his business that was existing already, and now we co-founded a new layer of the business of the platform. So yeah, I think you were on the early days and early stage.
Yeah.
So if you can think of any.
Yeah, of course. So I would say that may be quite obvious, but I think when you start a business, think about it as a kind of a marriage thing, because this is something you need to go along. Yeah, kind of marriage thing, like in terms of choosing the approach to everything. Because the way you need to choose the team, the way you need to choose the sort of the structure, the positioning of the company, it's going to last for many years. Because if you already been in the industry for some years, people know you as some company, they know you in certain positioning, and it's going to be pretty difficult to change it later. Yeah, to change it, especially like in a universal way, like change the whole project. So I would say when it comes to choosing the founding team, when it comes to choosing the concept, your strengths, your weaknesses, you should be looking at it not as, for example, I want to bring on friends on the board, I want to, it has to be something more. Look at it as a business that will succeed, and look into a way to formalize it in the very beginning. So you need to formalize it in terms of responsibilities, in terms of the actual shareholding of the company. All these points are pretty important, because I also believe in the ideas that started out in the accommodation from the uni, like with Facebook and stuff. But I think in the market landscape that is here now, there are a lot of startups, and the way you can actually win is to thinking all those steps through, to thinking of which would be the best way to fundraise through your network, through certain ways, which would be the best way to obtain partnerships. That's all very important to take into consideration, like the strengths and weaknesses of all people in the team and their responsibilities. So I would say what I would do differently, I would think this through, because I didn't think this through, and it took me quite a time to realize that it should be approached in a different way, with long-term vision, with long-term understanding, stuff like that. Anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think you pointed out like the most important things, and also like just I think initially like you don't know, like I mean you also learn on your mistakes. Yeah. So I think it's fine to like do some mistakes and then like realize that I would have done this differently. But I think for you initially, like you always like want to go into like your business also like with a friend, right? And I think that's kind of like ideally like you kind of want to think about like sometimes it's not the best idea because your personalities could not work. You have to be very, very careful when choosing a team, like when, like in terms of like, would that actually work? Yeah, you're good friends, but like, would it actually make sense? And I think, yeah, there was one person involved actually in like the whole initial beginning, and then they didn't mesh really well. And it kind of like, I think it's important to like realize that, okay, like we're good friends, but we might not be the best business partners.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
I just want to add on top of that for me, it's a good thing and a bad thing. For me, trust is always super important. I know myself, as a into the founding team, I wouldn't be able to find a person that I don't know, like in total. I wouldn't be able to do that. But at the same time, it's a bad thing, because when you trust the person, when it's a super close friend of yours, when you trust the person so much and you count a lot on it, but it actually doesn't work like that. You need to take into consideration both trust and the actual like personality of the person, background, expertise. So I think, yeah, that's something I would do differently, 100%.
Yeah. Think about the people that you go into the business with. Yeah. So he would have probably more formalized it from the beginning,
exactly.
Right?
The actual business, even the startup, it's an actual business. So you need to think through it for like many years ahead, because if it's successful business, it's going to last longer. So yeah, I would say those things are important to initiate from the beginning.
I think jumping into it, like you have to be very just careful with like how you do it. Think of everything through before like you go into like deep dive into the business.
Oh, actually, I can add one more. I just realized also another thing I would do differently. At some point when I was doing masters, actually, I tried different projects. So I tried to be involved in a few different startups. Yep, and that's a very, very good experience because it doesn't work. I think I don't think it works. I think you need only, well, not necessarily only one project, but you should take something that you know you will be able to deliver and something. So you need to kind of, if you'll add something on that, yeah. If you start doing something, you need to deliver it to the certain point first until you take something else. Because I had an experience when I tried a few different things simultaneously, none of them worked. Like all of them failed. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was just like a period of time for you to realize what you want to do. Because you were doing a lot of things. I remember he was like, one week he was like, I'm starting a clothing business. Next week, I'm starting a shoes business. Next week, I'm starting a business. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of businesses. And then like every week, a restaurant, remember? Restaurant as well. Wow. Italian restaurant?
Yeah, it was.
It was a restaurant. And it didn't happen. It was just like, I think you, in a way, you were trying to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think that like you were like spreading yourself too much in terms of like so many things were happening, and he was trying to do so many things at the same time, and I was just always like, I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good for you, because I think your time is you can only spend so much time on one thing, or like on two things maximum. But then I think that's a good thing that you learn from it. But
you focus now.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I think more focused, and I think it's just the thing that you would probably do differently, probably spend less time on million things.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. It doesn't mean that the person can't do more than one venture. Of course they can, and actually a lot of people who are in the business, they do more than one thing, 100%. But it's about just making sure that you take everything step by step. I would
don't
say.
too much stuff on too many different things.
Exactly. Yeah. So these at the same time. Yeah. Exactly. So these are the few lessons I've learned.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yes, of course, it must be very helpful. But I feel like you are, business enthusiast. You like this idea of generally building business and going into business. But of course, with building business comes the actual building when the real work goes in. Yeah. Well. But it's great. I mean, you see, I guess I would say my co-founder is also like him. I mean, he has like lots of ideas and some. Okay, let's do this and let's do that.
And I think you need those people. Yeah, you need those people to like.
Yes, of course, you do need those people, because otherwise it would be very boring, maybe, probably, and we wouldn't. I guess we could have overlooked other ideas or other opportunities. Yes. But it's great, I admire these kind of people,
Exactly.
For example, I am not like that. I'm more structured. Yeah, exactly. I don't go and seek like new ideas. I mean, I do like, I guess, I'm more of a executor rather than like enthusiast.
I think that's a good way that the good thing that you pointed out, because like I think like being a startup founder is like there's different layers to being a founder. One founder could be like more like initiator, like more idea like generator. The other one could be more like operational execution. So like a startup founder doesn't need to like actually when you think of startup founder, you think that's the person who created the idea, right? Initially you are always like, oh, you're the founder, so you're like the idea generator, you came up with the idea. But it's not like that, because a lot of the founders are actually not the ones who came up with the idea. They were like, could be more operational side, or they could be like more from the sales, like me, for example. So I think like it's a good balancing factor as well.
I can just add a bit on this, 100%, because our idea without the involvement of Alti would be nothing, because I wouldn't be able to 100%. It wouldn't work if Alti wasn't there. So 100%, I think it's important to have the right people in place.
Like a good balance.
Yeah, you found each other. Yeah, nice. You're lucky. So you said you met during masters, right? Okay, let's tell me more about your masters, and do you recommend that masters? Where did you do it? What did you do? And what was like the most, I guess, valuable lesson that you got from those masters years?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so
I think you like talking about the masters.
So first of all, honestly, I think this masters was one of the best experiences in my life. I think I don't know if you can agree, but
life,
no,
it's
honestly, no, honestly.
Pivoting moment, right?
Exactly. You know, when I was graduating from bachelor's, I had a different thoughts. What should I do next? Because I had offers from the sort of corporate background. I had a few, but I kind of had a feeling that I wasn't really built for that kind of stuff. So I was starting to look into, so what should I do next? It's been, for me, I think, over 5 years in the UK, and I should have, worked out what to do. So I started looking up something related to entrepreneurship, and I found the program. The first thing, this program is the way they choose people. It's a bit different from other programs because they host interviews with you, which is something not all masters do. Because they actually ask you about things that have nothing to do with academic stuff, with theory stuff. They only care about, so what are you thinking about business, right? So I think that's the very important point. The UCL School of Management, the way they approach their studying is nothing like, you can't find it anywhere else, because the teachers there, they are active angels, they're active businessmen, they're active VC people. So
they know like the latest and actual trends.
Exactly.
Business,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. The way they teach you is about applying it to the real life. We were just discussing with Alti that we had assignments like, look, find this founder, interview him, find out certain things. So it's something that teaches you, how to communicate in real world. So yeah, that's where we met with Alti. I think this was, I totally recommend the program. They support us a lot after we graduated with our startup as well. With the visa process, there are a lot of successful founders who graduated from this program. So yeah, shout out to Simon and Alina from the course, our best supporters, but I 100%. And Alec as well, yeah, Aliaksandr, our advisor at Yotewo. Yeah, I totally happy that I joined the program.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah, I think for me it was a little bit different because a lot of I enjoyed it. No, I just meant like different in terms of I did not have an idea going into the program, and a lot of my cohort people, they just had like already growing business. They already had like initial like idea at least, or they had like something going on, or family business or whatever it is. And I just kind of went in there with an open mind because I knew that I kind of like was a very like more entrepreneurial side from the very young age, because when I was a little kid, it's kind of funny story, but I always wanted to make more money. I always was chasing that money like idea, because even like as like a 3 or 4 year old, whenever we got on the bus to like go into like somewhere with my mom, I remember seeing like the bus driver having like those coins, you pay with coins. And I always thought, wow, he must be so rich. He has like so many coins in that bus driver. And I thought that, wow, like I want to be rich. Like I literally from like a very young age, I was like, I want to make sure I'm financially stable. I create my own thing. And I knew that like, yeah, you can do that through like a normal job, but also it could be very hard. So I also always saw myself somewhere else besides that my full-time job. I always wanted to do something more, and I knew that I am interested in it. So that's how the idea of like me even going into the program started, is because I was like researching different programs. I knew that I wanted to be in the UK actually, because initially I was studying in the US, but in the US I think the visa process is very complicated for international students. Yeah, whenever you're an international, I think it's much harder to you get a visa, especially if you are like starting out a business. I think that's like something almost impossible, because locals are the ones to like have more advantage in there. And I think UK provides more like opportunities for people, everyone. Like to, even if you have an idea, there's an innovator visa, there's a startup visa, there's so many different types of visas talent visa, global talent. There's new ones that come up every time. So I think I knew, my sister also studied in the UK. So I knew that like UK has more opportunities. So that's why I was like, okay, I want to look into UK. And then I looked into the programs, and I think UCL was probably the best one in terms of like my research. I did like a lot lot of researches on different imperial colleges, like different colleges throughout London. But I think UCL generally provided that practical part, which is the most important thing, because imperial or other colleges were like, not to say bad things about it, but I from what I understood is that like there were more theory. Yeah.
Standard theoretical like education.
Exactly, and we wanted to do. We wanted to do some like more practical stuff. I needed to be more in the space, in the startup or scale up space. So yeah, that's how I kind of like decided to choose UCL in the beginning, and I don't regret it at all because my main thing is that I took of the program, besides the learning part and everything, obviously, is the fact that there's a big networking thing that you meet people. Because otherwise you're not gonna meet those angel investors, those like people founders, or like there's events every single week. So for me, that was the most helpful thing, in being able to be in that space and being able to meet them and talk to them and be involved in that like circle, because that's how eventually you find a job. That's how you by networking.
You find your partners.
Exactly.
Necessary people in general to your
everything is networking. Sorry.
No, 100%. With UCL, even we had a trip to San Fran 2 years ago, San Fran to US. We've visited local startups, local sort of VCs, and I can confirm they still are super useful to us till this day. We stay in touch with them. It's a lot of support. And maybe I'll give an unpopular opinion. I think entrepreneurs, you can't educate yourself to be an entrepreneur. You need to be born an entrepreneur, but it's not enough. In my opinion, it's not enough, and you need to nurture that. You need to serve exactly. And that's what program is doing. I think the UCL is very useful in that term. They don't teach you entrepreneurship, but they help you they navigate you through the process. I think that's because
you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And they just show you like the ways.
Yeah,
how to do it.
exactly. Because that's business. You can't really learn how to run a business, right? You need to have some, kind of natural, something towards that. But the way they help you nurture this. They help you with networking. They help you with actual advice, with whatever. So
whatever you need, basically, whatever you need, like they kind of like support you in that. And even if like you want to meet other investors, for example, they have like friends of friends, and that you could like potentially meet at different like clubs, or like the things that you would never be able to know about if you were not a part of the program. And I think that's the main advantage, of being there and meeting people, being in the network. Sorry. I always forget about it. I thought you were done. Sorry.
I just want to say application link in description.
Application link in the description. I mean, I think it was very helpful. And I mean, UCL has like one of the best views. Our school.
Motivation.
Our school is in Canary Wharf. So level 50, it was the highest building, one of the highest buildings. It was really pretty. And I mean, there were a lot of like people coming in, and we also had a lot of pitch competitions. One thing that I wanted to point out, pitch competitions is very important because you are able to practice your pitch, and you're actually able to win some money. So the prize could be like anywhere from like 1,000 or plus. So I think that's important for you to kind of like practice, be able to get advice, and win some money.
And it's pretty important because this kind of pitch competition is not in front of the teaching cohort. It's the actual angels that come in. Exactly, the actual angels, the actual VCs, the actual founders. There is a judge panel. So I think that's pretty useful.
That's very practical.
That's
as practical as you can get it.
Amazing. You see, well, I understand that this, especially for you, UCL Masters was like, as I said, pivoting point. Because before you didn't really know what you're gonna do with your life, and now that with the UCL practices, you've decided business is my way and this is where I'm going. Actually, when I finished like university, I would say, I studied like all of our, I guess in general population. You finish your school and you go to university and you find a job. So that was like my journey too. My path was very similar to straightforward, like to all of other people. But after working, I guess for around 5 years in corporate job, I started getting really bored. So I took like business course. It was short business course, like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, something like that. And it blew my mind because I thought, wow, it's there. It turned out that there was some completely other world that you could go into, because before that, when you work in corporate, you always meet only people who work in corporate, so they have like the same mindset, they have the same plans, and it's always like going, thinking about
Very
like
traditional way
yeah,
of,
very
like,
traditional,
yeah.
exactly. And when with that business course, oh wow, it changed. And I also had some attempts that I failed back in Turkey, and then now we're doing this business. I wouldn't say that sometimes I really prefer working like in corporate. Wow, you when like after 5 or 6 you are completely free. But this is probably, I guess, of course, but it's still way more exciting than.
Where in corporate did you work?
I didn't work in. I worked in. It is in heavy industry. It's called. The company called Elcon. I probably never heard about it. So we produced huge concrete making machines. Yeah. And I worked there for quite a while, and then but I'm happy that I switched. Yeah, exactly. And you see that when you work in the industry, you work with those people who are like they are all in industry. They are all like construction men, probably. And now this in tech it's way more dynamic. There are younger people, they are open to like new opportunities, to new ideas. It's way more interesting. Well, it's great having you guys. And I guess for the closing argument, let's say, I would ask you to give a recommendation. I mean, what would be like one recommendation that you would give, like to anyone or to entrepreneurs?
I can start. I think I generally was very scared to do anything, to start anything, to fail. I was so scared of it, and I think now what's the worst that you can happen? Like that can happen? I always think about like what's the worst? The worst that could be like you are gonna be at the same place you are right now, right? Right. Nothing's gonna change. Like if you fail, okay, you're gonna be like doing the same thing that you're doing now. Like so that kind of just shifted my mindset. Is like there's nothing to lose right now, especially being so young. I'm like I think I need to try it now and see what I like, because I realized that after graduating college and then a master's program as well, I saw that like so many like people spend so many years working. Like that's the majority of our life, right? The majority of our life is work. So you gotta do something that you actually like try to like enjoy a little bit at least. Like sometimes like every work has like negatives and positives. Every work, people say like you gotta do what you love, and like it's never 100%. Like it's never gonna be like you love it 100% and there's never down days, never bad days, right? So I think it's like you gotta do what you love, like in terms of like more, like because like if you see yourself in an industry and you cannot like imagine being there for too long, why would you spend more time there if you know that this is not something you want to do eventually? So I think now for me, like it's important to try out everything as much as I can, to try it out, like to try this, try that, and if it doesn't work, you're gonna be in the same place you are now, so you have nothing to lose. My one piece of recommendation is that like just like see what's there, like in terms of like talking to people and like the similar people that you want to be in like 5 years down from now, and see where they are in their career and kind of like talk to them. At least that's the first step. Not even talking about doing anything at all, just talking. And then once you talk more about it, I think it organically just flows into you doing something. But
that's a very good one. Actually, I agree on that 100%. And from my side, what I would add to this is that, entrepreneurship, it's not for everyone, I think.
Like any other job.
Exactly, and people nowadays, they see a lot of, on social media, whatever, they see a lot of people, entrepreneurs, they're making money, they're living this sort of dream life, exactly. But in reality, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And my suggestion for, like, if I can give an advice to people, is to learn what's best for you. Because for some people, entrepreneurship is not something that would make them happy. For us, I think, honestly, the end goal is because this is something that makes us happy. I think this is something we're pretty happy doing. But in terms of other people, it's not for everyone. So my advice is to take some time and research yourself and your needs as a human. Because it might be not your case. It might be yours, it might be not. So it's important to sort of ask yourself what are you into, because looking at all this stuff on social media and in general, it can be confusing, and you might think, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, I'm doing the wrong thing. I need to go into that. But be honest with yourself and learn, research yourself to understand what do you really need.
What your priorities
Exactly.
are.
What are your priorities in life?
What do you want to actually do?
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah,
I'd
so
advise
that's kind of
that.
like advice. But honestly, I feel like we are still on our journey.
Yep, of
So
course.
we are still gonna make more mistakes, more lessons. More lessons to come forward. And like I feel like I'm excited. I know that we will like be adjustable, be flexible because of on our past we had to be. We always have to be like very flexible. And I think it's just like we just starting out. So I think
we
it's
need
exciting.
to enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Enjoy the
It's
ride.
all
Yeah.
different, but the road.
Yeah, so I think it's like we at this moment in time we are in this position, but I think definitely in a year from now we're gonna come completely different with new lessons, so it's never ending, and I think that's important to point out. Yeah, it's always like new lessons.
And the last thing, thank you so much for inviting us. We are super honored to. Thanks so much. We're super honored to be a part of it, and happy about it. So thanks so much.
Thank you a lot.
You're welcome. And thank you for your time. It was amazing. I think, I don't know, it went like, very fast. Yeah, so quick.
Honestly, when you
And
said
it
your
was so-
last point, I was like,
Yeah, okay, it's great. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
think, our listeners will appreciate your advices and your insights, and it will be useful for them.
And if you keep up with our journey, follow us on Instagram, Yotewo London. We'll link it as well.
Yeah, we will add it into,
We try to post as much as we can right now.
Of course.
We're quite open about what we do.
Yeah, so feel free to follow along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you. Great.
Now you have to cut.
Yeah, cut.
Говорить с тобой.
Вообще,